Hello and welcome to the next Skyline game engine tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to look at models, materials and content libraries and the best way of getting your newly created assets into Skyline. So first we'll go to the asset manager, and if we look at the left hand side of the asset manager we have a content library, and in this drop down we have all the available libraries that Skyline can actually see. We can load any asset from any of these libraries. The system library is a core library. This is what Skyline uses for some of the demos and other features. Also worth noting that this library is uninstalled and reinstalled every time you update Skyline. There is an asset library which isn't in my list, but it'll be in yours, and that asset library is where you should preferably put your own content. If you're going to purchase anything from DLC from the store, it will be installed directly into this asset library. Right, for now we're going to look at a model that I created a while ago. It's pre-PBR, but it's not in any part of the libraries. So we'll go to that. If I drag this in, it'll be large. I'll just scale that down. And that there we've discussed in another video is because I tried to zoom into the object, but the object was initially very large size, and the zoom has done it to the bounds of the object, not the actual size of the object we see in the scene. Very similar to applying the scale and transformations in any modelling package. So let's find our table. And as we can see, it's got a material error on it. I don't want to do any more with this because I'm going to get errors and unwanted results as I'm doing it. So the best way to do this would be, let's go back to the asset library. We'll delete the model from the scene and we'll delete the assets from this folder. Okay, now we're back to the way we were. What I'm going to do is take this root folder and call this my library. So library 1 we want to add in onto the editor properties, and we're going to look for library 1. Now select that folder and it's now part of the library. Now any folders or assets we put inside this library we will be able to have access to. If you don't want any libraries, as I mentioned before, you would have an asset library. As you can see, it's unchecked in mine. If I click that, it brings it into the list, but I've got nothing in it at the moment. So in the drop down list we've got the new library we created, and there's the folder with table wood. Now when I drag this into the scene, we're obviously going to get the scaling issue, but we don't get a material error, which this is great. And also Skyline will be quite happy working with this, so instead of having that large bounds we had before, we can actually go and we can bake the scale. If we'd done this without it being part of the library, we would have got very strange results, if not a crash. Right, re-click on the folder, let's see the assets, and now we've got a material now called table 001, and that's the name of the material I did inside the content creation package. So let's just set its materials up. Just make the asset manager a little bit easier to see. Let's bring the library up, drag that in. I mean, not library, material editor. Get rid of the blue. And we'll drag in the materials. There we go. It's pre-PBR, so you'll probably find you want to turn down the specular, because I've cheated a little. I've used the specular texture as my roughness, which we know is not correct, but we can get it close. And with a little bit of metallic, we can get the tone of the image similar to the texture. And there we have it. Save that. And now if we double click, and we can orbit the new asset. So a quick recap. Anytime you bring anything into your Skyline, best to use a library. Either the library that we provide, which is the asset library, or as I've just shown you here, by going into Editor Properties and adding your own library. Also, while I'm here, I've just mentioned, if I click on that now, I can remove that library if I don't want it in my system any longer. And that's it for this tutorial. Thank you. Bye.